We've got a few questions relating to access to communication, be it on the social networks or independent of that, be it like text messaging or what have you. But there's a few specific questions that we want to rapid fire out that are on the mind of those that are searching for your service.
Sure thing.
Can social media messages be used as evidence?
Yes.
In court?
And they frequently are. In the DWI sense, usually doesn't play a role. However, it can, but in other criminal cases or in general rules of evidence, social media messages, posts, snaps, frequently are part of any criminal case.
Can you use social media as evidence?
Yes. And I think Steve just touched on that, and there's more information on our website and things like that. But yes, Facebook messages, snaps, posts, where you were when something happened. A lot of posts have your geolocation. So yes, social media can certainly be used as evidence for your benefit and against you.
Can deleted social media messages be retrieved and used as evidence in court?
Well, as we know, nothing's truly ever deleted, right? Screenshots, you could delete Snapchat, which is supposed to be viewed. The message is viewed and it goes away. Nothing ever truly goes away, and so we have cases that they can be subpoenaed, whether it's Facebook. Again, could be screenshots of the message itself before, and it's deleted. Snapchat, that can be subpoenaed. I don't know the length each agency has, but Snapchat is frequently subpoenaed for cases, and those certainly can be used. It's akin to the person making a statement. Obviously we know statements made by a suspect or a defendant can be used against them in court, and that if that's a statement that they made or adopted, it can be used against them.
Are text messages admissible in court?
Yes, and often are, and we see quite a bit of that. Obviously, case specific, and case by case basis. However, yes, we see text messages come in quite frequently.
Can private messages be used in court?
Yes. I mean, when you say private, I assume you mean text or DMs and things of that nature. Again, any statement made by the defendant is almost always admissible, as long as we can. There's got to be some evidence that this is the person who authored that statement, and it's not a hard burden to overcome. And so, text messages are very often part of criminal cases. And again, the burden to prove the authenticity of them and who authored them. I mean, you got to say, well, that's his Facebook account. He sent a private message to Jane Doe, and now that can be used against the defendant.
And we talked about things not necessarily ever being deleted or gone forever, but can deleted text messages be subpoenaed?
Yes. Of course, you have the cloud, right? So you delete it off your phone, then you go to recently deleted items, you delete it from that folder. You have to look at your phone and its backup settings. How often is it up? If it's an iPhone, how often is it updating to the cloud? Sometimes, things do go away. I mean, I have a case recently where we were looking for some text messages that our client had deleted that would have been advantageous to us. We sent off his computer and his phone. You almost have to have the device these days. You're not going to get it from AT&T or Verizon or Apple. But if you have the device, almost always you can recover it. But we do employ forensic computer data, to extract it, do a data dump. But to answer your question, yes.
The police legally allowed to lie?
Yes, and frequently do. We gave an example earlier of if you don't blow into my machine right now, you're going to lose your license for a year. Well, they're not the judge, jury, and executioner. You have due process. You don't lose your license on the spot. You are released from the scene with a 15-day driving permit. Quickly, the analogy I always give when people are floored when they hear that police are legally allowed to lie in their investigation is I say, you could be in an interview room and they can say, we have your DNA at the scene on the murder weapon, and that could be a complete lie to elicit a confession. And they are legally allowed to do that. I know, it blows people's minds.
That's crazy. Are police allowed to lie about charges in general?
Could you be a little bit more specific?
I think this would relate to any charges. So if...
Yes.
Yeah, can they just say, I'm going to find you guilty of something regardless?
Here's the thing. The police conduct their investigation. They take everything they've built in their investigation, and they take it and they present it to a prosecutor at some point in time. Now, many times we will see an officer applied for these charges, assault 1, ACA, et cetera, resisting arrest. And then the prosecutor looks at it and says, well, here are the charges I think I can prove the best, or here, so it can always come out different. So yes, police can say, look, you're getting charged with X, Y, and Z, but they're not making the charging decision. A prosecutor is reviewing that file to make a charging decision. So yes.
Can the police make somebody incriminate themselves?
No, they cannot. And before an officer interrogates you, if an individual is in custody or under arrest, before they start asking questions, what we consider interrogation, they have to Mirandize you. They have to give you your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. We all heard that on TV at some point or another. And they have to do that before they ask those questions, at which point the suspect or the defendant has the right to refuse to answer those questions, has the right to assert his or her wish to have an attorney present, which we would almost always advise, always actually, not almost, if they don't have us there. And there's very few situations that we allow our clients to talk. It's got to be very compelling reasons, but almost always we would tell our clients not to speak. But so they cannot compel you to answer those questions, under the threat of, hey, if you don't answer these, we're going to do X, Y, or Z, because that would be coercion. Those are some things that we could potentially get thrown out if they ultimately do answer it. But the suspect or defendant always has the right to refuse to answer those questions after the Miranda warning has been given, in which we would always advise to do so, to assert your right to have an attorney present and assert your Fifth Amendment right.
How would you describe your relationship with Hexen? And if you have some core benefits that you've had working with Hexen, what are they?
I've been working with Hexen now for 7 years, better part of a decade, maybe 8. It has transformed my life, and I truly mean that. It has helped me be more accessible to clients. It has, over a period of a decade, helped my firm grow. I started out as a solo practitioner, and of course, partnering with Steve has put us on a quicker path for growth. But just my relationship with Hexen, I went from a one-man show to, it was myself and a head paralegal and another lawyer, and so. And the best part about that is it allows us to allocate and to look at each person's role and define each person's role, because it is so important that we are utilizing our skill sets the best way that we can. And Hexen has helped us do that. And also just getting information out, letting people know, like we've talked about here today, your rights. But yeah, Hexen was one of, I would say one of the most critical, business partnerships that I've made in my life. I can say that wholeheartedly.
That's awesome. Now, if you were to recommend Hexen to, another business or a friend that was looking for accessibility, visibility, growth, how would that go? How would that run?
I would say that it's almost similar to our law firm. Hexen is a Mercedes, right? It's not meant for everyone. They don't build $1,500 websites. We don't do $1,500 DWIs. You get what you pay for. My first impression of Hexen when I ever first walked in here was I was very impressed. The amount of time and effort that was put into their proposal to me on what they wanted to do for me without having a dollar of my money was so impressive. I couldn't afford it at the time. I had some terrible experiences with some other similar companies in the industry. And then, but I never forgot this place. I remember being, very impressive presentation and what we can do. And it all made sense and I liked it. So much so that 5 years later, I came back to them when I had the money. And I've been with them ever since, 8 years running now. And I don't see myself ever going anywhere else. Just the rapport and the trust that has been built. I would refer Hexen to anyone.
That's a very nice compliment.
It's the truth.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was so nice to hang out with you guys today.
Likewise, always enjoyable.
Yeah, I love it. And it's a great conversation. And I think, I always walk away from these conversations with a sense of comfort. I mean, you are professionals. And by any sense of it, you are a better professional than most of the other competitors that are in the industry. And I'm humbled by that in the sense that I can come in here and have this conversation. But in the same respect, I'm comfortable and I feel safe having a conversation with you guys. And I think that's a really, really amazing trait. Not just the accessibility, the knowledge, the integrity, those are all big values for any business to run effectively and grow in any sense of the word. But what I find is the cherry is that you're real, approachable, and it's comforting to have a conversation with you. So I'm grateful for all the knowledge and all of the information that you've shared for me, and I'll be selfish.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity to hopefully impart some knowledge regarding the criminal defense world to our clients, prospective clients,
Absolutely.
or just anybody that might be interested.
We've absolutely done that. We did that on the first podcast too. We did that even at a new level. We did that.
I would agree. And
Yeah.
thank you for having us.
Oh man, I can't wait to see you again.
Let's do it.
Signing off for Hexen, where we take marketing to the power of X.